The next phase is the rock bottom. When you reach that phase where, you can't go any lower anymore. I hit my rock bottom when I stopped digging. It's also known in spiritual terms as the dark night of the soul. Has Tao forsaken me? Has God left me? Am I alone? Like, is this the end? Have I reached the end of my life? All that's happened. Is this the end for me? So during this rock bottom phase, your ego self or your whole sense of who you thought you are, it disintegrates. So for example, I thought I was this person, I was this friend, I was this granddaughter, I was this pet owner, and suddenly, I'm not anymore. Or I have this job, and then I thought of this person studying this stuff, working and having friends, and suddenly I realized what I thought I wasn't anymore. And the whole sense of who I was, it just disappeared and it just disintegrated. And I became very lost and very, very confused. It was the feeling of blurriness, darkness, confusion. So the hardest part of the rock bottom phase is to face your shadow self, which contains the repressed parts like your fears, your desires, your traumas, and your beliefs. So the part of me that I did not want to deal with, it all surfaced, it all came up. So things come onto the surface for you to heal. And during this rock bottom phase, we all heal our deepest wounds by going within. So the rock bottom phase is a signal from our soul that actually, this is time. The rock bottom is time for you to get in touch with our inner self, with your inner self. So my story, after the 3 deaths, a few years later, 2020, I lost my job of 15 years, my full-time job. It was the start of the COVID lockdown. So I did not only lose my job, I completely lost myself at my rock bottom. I didn't know who I was anymore. And that was when I started on my inner healing and I got support. And my experience of the rock bottom was either do or die. And the most difficult thing was making the decision to get better. So I think if there's one thing that you can take from this presentation is that, there's a lot of healing modalities out there. You just learn how to, breathe and calm down, or like change your mindset or eat better. But in my experience, the most difficult thing was making that choice to get better. For the most part of my life, self-pity was easy. I like staying in my comfort zone. And I realized that, I'm going to be in the place where I'm in if nothing changes. The pain of staying the same is greater than the pain of change. And it reminded me of this quote from a show on Netflix. The character was saying, it took me a really long time to realize how truly miserable I was. And it took an even longer time to realize that actually I don't have to live this way. Only after I gave up everything could I begin to find a way to be happy. And this is from my personal experience. The most difficult thing I did was to make that decision to recover. Once I made the decision, it was still tough, but my ship, I've aligned the direction. I've steered the direction of my ship. And then that was when I started on moving my journey forward. So if you guys can relate to rock bottom, please write down and type in the chat, what is your experience with your own personal rock bottom? Or if it's too personal, just write towards yourself in a journal, because when you're writing your experiences in your journal or your rock bottom, it helps to release that unconscious energy. So we have about a minute now. If you want to type down in the chat, what's your experience, feel free to share.